Welcome, everyone, to episode number 4 of the Void Frogs podcast. My name is Stifflered, and I am joined, as always, with my dashing co-host.
Dashing? I'm very slow, actually. I gotta say, nobody's dashing here. Finish your line. Finish your line.
Qmagnet. And yet another phenomenal guest for you.
Yes.
Today.
Oh, man. Did you know? 10 years before 2016, there was a man who joined the YouTube scene, a fan of the Captain. He watched and applied to help the Minite second season. He got in to his delight, and from there ignited his dream. A man of the people with a face for the stream. He's been trolly, oh yes, but he's never been mean. Through all his years growing with the variety gaming, he's on our podcast now, and his name is the Great Z.
I don't know whether to end this right there or like this is as good as it gets, guys. I'm out. You know, we're done. Hello, how's it going?
That was gold, man.
Oh, that was gold. I'm gonna change my bio, my Twitter bio to that. It's gonna be great. So, hello, hi.
We are so privileged to have you here. Oh, and I must say, if you're on YouTube, if we actually get this video correct this time, the background is green.
Yep.
I'm gonna keep going through the whole episode.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Whoa! I knew you could latch onto that.
Oh,
we'll work together as a team.
Terrible.
Oh, man.
This is
okay.
Not technically correct team, but you know, sounds like. So anyway.
Yeah. That's great.
Rhyming is something that I can typically do fairly well, so there you go. But let's move on from that.
It's pretty good.
Oh man. So Zine,
hello.
I'm like, it's amazing that you are here. Okay, look at that.
I'm trying to say I'm happy to be here. It's, you know, like I said, the questions, the longer you go on this, the more I'm going to doubt things. But it's fine. I'm happy to be here.
I'm very, very, very privileged to have you. So,
totally.
As we go through these sort of things, we'd like to get to know a little bit about people. And I first found about you when you hopped on the Diversity 3 Discord, or the Destiny 3 Discord, as you used to say it, and talking about the map. And I had actually never heard of you before, unfortunately. And then ever since then, I kind of watched some of your stuff, and you're a really cool guy. It's really, really, really cool to have you on here. Like,
well, I mean, thanks. I'm glad. And yeah, no, when I think if I recall, I was hopping on to try and get logo assets, right? Like typically when we start a new series, I try and track down the creator, and it's pretty rare that they do. But sometimes they'll like, hey, yeah, we have a logo that we want associated with the mod pack or whatever, and I like to kind of get in touch and just. You know, I don't weigh in like, hey, we're going to do a series of your thing, and you're like nothing like that. But just, do you have any assets that are high quality so we can generate some thumbnails and stuff like that? So I think that's where I kind of sought out the Discord, and then, you know, you piped in, and we've been talking off and on since then. So
yeah, that was really cool. Like I didn't actually, I think you mentioned something about Jordan and I are going to record. Then we found out you're talking about CaptainSparklez, and I was actually going like, is this guy for real? And then I found out who you are, and I was like, oh, wow. Okay, yeah, here's everything I got if I can give it to you.
Yeah, I mean, I fly under the radar next to him for sure. Like, you know, it's completely different levels, and it's not surprising that, you know, I mean, I'm fairly used to generally walking around my day with no one knowing who I am, and that's just, that's fine.
Yeah, because you have like a regular 9 to 5, well, maybe not 9 to 5, but a regular blue collar job, or maybe white collar job, but not a streamer job before. Right. And then you dig into all that online stuff at night.
Right.
Oh man, that's way too much work for me.
It's before we get into the personal details, like series and stuff that you've been into. I know we did that great intro, Q. But maybe the people should know, like, you're a streamer, you do YouTube, you work with CaptainSparklez, or you've done some series with CaptainSparklez, you've done some stuff with other people. I saw, you know, you've worked with like Sunday. I actually found out about you through the Deep End. I was watching that and found out about you over there. Thought you were a dope dude, and still do think you're a dope dude.
You think he's a dope? What?
Yeah,
What are you
dope.
saying? That's
A
not
dope
nice.
dude.
That's fair though. Fair. Maybe not nice, but fair.
But is there anything else that's missing that like people should know if they don't know who you are? Like as an introduction, this is who Zine is.
No, I think that pretty well covers it. Well, you know, one of the things that I would say that kind of stands out that it gets lost a lot is the primary way that most people know me is through Minecraft and even secondarily through CaptainSparklez. But I do stream a variety of things. I play many different types of games. I have other games that I especially as. I love Minecraft, and it's been a great platform for me, and I love working with CaptainSparklez. But it's, you know, it's not. There is that always that difficulty when you're working with someone who's so much larger than you that it's kind of establishing yourself as you know, he is my claim to relevance, but I'm my own person kind of thing. And so there's that a little bit, but mostly just I'm a streamer. I do post YouTube videos. My YouTube stuff is almost entirely Minecraft because as far as a creator for myself, the streaming side of being on Twitch is by far the more significant and impactful and meaningful thing to me. The YouTube kind of comes along for the ride because I do work with people who are other YouTubers, and it's like if they're recording, I might as well record, and you know I don't dislike it, but the passion for me and what I really enjoy is the streaming live side. So I'm a streamer first and YouTuber a distant second compared to that. So. But
podcast guest third.
Yeah, I mean, you know, moving up the ranks. The more rhymes, the higher it goes. You know,
put it on your resume, man.
Yeah.
That's
okay,
right.
well, we're gonna get into some of that stuff because we did a ton of research this week.
Okay.
But let's start. Like, I don't know if it's the beginning, but the name Zine. What is that about? I know it's this X33N. Does anybody ever call you that?
Yeah, I get Scene. I got a Zen the other day. X33N. And Zine are basically the main combinations there, or Exene. But so without the threes, XEEN was a villain in a Might and Magic game when I was growing up, and so I played that. And it's actually like it's this skull character, and you can find a brief YouTube thing of him laughing, and it's just kind of funny because it's old school, like late or early '90s video games. But so that's where it came from, is Might and Magic World of Zine. And then at some point or another, I'm sure I logged onto some site and Zine was taken. So I flipped the E's to threes, and here we are.
So you would have been XEEN if it wasn't taken.
And I see, you know, I mean, sometimes you'll see in comments or whatever, someone will type XEEN, and, you know, there'll be someone else who follows up with like, it's threes. And it's like, it's fine. Like, you know, I can do the flip, like, boom. It's not a speed bump for me. So
what about like when you're writing it and you want to do the capital X, but then you're like, these two large threes, and then it's like, oh, the lowercase n just looks weird.
I write it with the capital N. I like it with the capital X and capital N. But
you're like, I'm here. I'm announcing it.
It's
full glory.
It's not so much like I'm Zine, but it's more like just the aesthetic of it. Like you're saying, is you've got three basically numerals or capital letters. So you've got three capitals and then one lowercase. That looks a little wonky. So just four's not so big and obnoxious that So. Anyway, I write it full uppercase.
Yeah.
Do you feel more connected with the villainous side of Zine, or the laugh, or the whole IP there? Like, why do you feel connected to that?
I feel connected because I was like, that's a cool name. But other than that, like, there wasn't any deep association with the character. Like, so, you know, there's no meaning to be found by studying the Zine, the Might and Magic character, to know me better. Like that, it's just, I thought it was a cool name. And I was a pretty, you know, as many, if not most, I was a pretty awkward teenager. I had a hard time with social stuff because I was a computer kid. And so a lot of in my like early teens, I primarily interacted with my peers through a online bulletin board system, a dial-in modem system and chat board. And so I got to be known. At first I used my dad's nickname, and then swapped over from that when it kind of, as I established myself and my identity, to my own, and that's where I grabbed the name Zine.
Your dad. So that's like Zine Senior?
Well,
that it?
he didn't use Zine, so he was a completely different name, and I was like, okay, I'll use that as just a generic logon, because it was a little bit his nickname. And then I was like, now that I'm realizing these are people that I want to be friends with and want to get to know, probably get to know them as me, not as an assumed identity.
Yeah, I did that too. Like when I first started Minecraft, I had this really stupid name. And then I'm like, well, if I'm gonna do YouTube, I better come up with a less stupid name. But I had to buy an alt account because you couldn't change it for free like you can now if you want to change your name over. Now, actually, when I was looking at your older videos, I noticed your Twitch channel was the Zine. Your Twitter was like underscore Zine. You had a lot of like ones that were taken.
They were all variations, yeah. And just over time as I've I don't know whether it was gaining followership and getting to a point where I was big enough to be able to request it or what, but at some point I was finally able to contact Twitch and kind of push them to where I was, because the Zine account existed but was unused, and kind of get them to release that and move me over to that. So managed to bring that one in, and then actually the Zine account on Twitter it had been created in like 2014 with no tweets or anything like that. But Jordan actually used one of his contacts with Twitter Gaming to get them to release it for me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I was wondering how people change their Twitter addresses and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I've been slowly lining it back up, and I mean I'm there now, but it was the Zine on Twitch wasn't too bad, but underscore X33N was really obnoxious on Twitter. And because I mean, and when you're trying to do tags and stuff like that, you're going to think of me as Zine, and you're going to do @ and then X, and it's not going to show up. As simple as that is, that was a major problem. So I'm glad I was able to fix that up. But even still to this day, I'm still correcting graphics. My intro video at the very end, the splash screen with my socials still has the underscores there. And it's like, I should fix that someday. And then I go on and do other things.
Do you have the old accounts for those still?
No. It literally like they moved the account. They renamed my account. So yeah, they don't exist anymore. It's not that I migrated. Okay, we're picking up from here and going over there. It's that one day I logged in and I was underscore X33N underscore, and the next day I was Zine, so.
Oh man, that's sweet. I had to do that back in the day, but I had to write a letter to them to get my username opened up. And then they just opened it up, and then I had to change accounts. So like my original account is actually, it still exists.
Right.
I can still log into it, but it's not on my account. It's kind of a bummer. It's like, man, I want to have that pride of being like, I joined in this year on this day and all that. I don't know, it's weird.
Like all you have to do is just, spend several years working 2 jobs and building up an audience and a following in order to get enough clout to where they're willing to do that for you. And then you got it made.
Yeah. That's Zine's one step to greatness. Just follow that exact plan and you will get
Step
there.
1, want it. Step 2, question mark. Step 3, profit.
That's right.
Wow, I did not think we were going to learn all those life lessons today, but never know. Okay, so name aside, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you didn't start with Minecraft on Let's Plays. Is that correct?
In terms of how, yes and no. On my stream, no. You are correct. It was Minecraft that kind of got me into everything, but in a long roundabout way, I couldn't do Minecraft to start off with, so I ended up to me the official start was Alien Isolation on the stream and doing that sort of thing, and then eventually kind of got into Minecraft afterwards. But I got involved in the scene really through Mionite and which is a series that CaptainSparklez did with a few others, and I went from fan to actually being in process with it through an application process, and where I was helping behind the scenes. But because I was behind the scenes on a Minecraft show, Mionite had some pretty strong restrictions on what we could and couldn't do, and so there were basically, if I'd have started making Minecraft content, especially if I'd made Mionite Minecraft content, then they would have pretty much kicked me off the team and that sort of thing. So that's where I I got involved there, created the account, got involved in Twitch and stuff, but then streamed other things is because of my involvement there.
So, like, you mean you couldn't do like fly into the world and show the builds and stuff, or what do you mean you couldn't?
Yeah,
do
no,
content?
yeah. Basically, they had some interesting ideas, and you know, not here to question what they were or weren't, but we weren't supposed to talk to the streamers, which I wasn't terribly good at, given that I ended up making a contact with CaptainSparklez through that. But we weren't supposed to bother the talent, the streamers, and we couldn't create content using its name or its world. Is basically. And so at that point, just not doing Minecraft stuff at all was easier than, you know, if I'd have made a Minecraft in my own Let's Play or in my own world, then everything would have just been, where's Mine? You know, so I just kind of went in a completely different direction during that period.
Yeah,
that's smart.
You what was I gonna say? The thing I remember about My Night, because I was more in the map making scene, was Blockworks was in that, weren't
yes,
they? Were
season
building
2
for it or something like that.
Blockworks is who brought me on as a back end person. So yeah, they did they did for the season 2. They did the builds, or they had a build team that helped out there, and then they also had a story team that was supposed to be building the lore and everything around it, kind of dynamically as it all happened. And that's where that's where I came in. Is they were, you know, trying to create NPCs, which to me is a non-player character, but basically just, you know, other characters that are supporting actors or actresses,
Right.
That you know, help to be live, to actually respond, to do things and be characters in that world for the actual streamers to interact with.
How does that work? Are you like have a voice in your ear telling you to move here and there, or you're just interacting on the spot, or what?
Interacting on the spot, you create the character, and then, you know, you kind of define it. Like, so basically, it's build your own character, and, you know, there's some discussion of why or whether it should exist, and, you know, what benefit it has. But then you just exist in the world and play it how you want, and we could switch between them. We added commands to, you know, change our skins and stuff like that, and put on nicknames. And so you'd zoom around and. But a lot of stuff was just made up on the spot. Like, one of my more popular characters was called Observation Bot, and I put on a pair of Thaumcraft enchanted goggles, and then I went invisible with everything else. So I was just this floating pair of goggles, and I would just creep on the players, and I'd just be in places where they could notice, and, you know, and you know, I built a whole lore of why. That they eventually kind of uncovered, but that was very complex because I don't know where they're going to go. I'm seeing things slightly lagged, so it's like I have to be watching their stream, have an idea of they're probably going to go to this location next, and then I have to be there first, be set up, and be ready to just stare at them as they go. 9 times out of 10, they don't even notice. But I got pretty good at it, to where there were some pretty fun moments of, you know, they'd be doing stuff, just looking around, and then they'd look up and like, oh, and, you know, that sort of thing.
See, I thought it was all pre-planned, and you're set. And you're watching the stream and like, oh, he said this, I better get over there. What happens if your like internet goes down? You're in trouble.
And you're just not there. You know, I mean, you roll with it. You know, they'd be like, hey, Steve's not responding right now. Okay, you know, and he must be busy right now, or however. It was very chaotic. It was a lot of fun, and I got my feet wet in a lot of different things, and obviously was able to use it kind of as a platform to get started. And ultimately, not kind of got to know Jordan through that, but I guess Jordan knew of me through that, and then through a couple other steps, we ended up working more directly together. But yeah, the My Night, it was a very chaotic time, and that's actually kind of where I don't know if shined is the right word, but where I started taking over and breaking the rules a little bit. Is I recognized that there wasn't a great coordination between what the players were doing and when the events and things were planned to do. And so I started just using Twitter and just tweeting at people, but just kind of helping to bring, you know, hey, you're going to want to be here or else, and kind of in character stuff, but helping to get the streamers to understand when they needed to be on and when to expect something, so that we'd stop having events that would set up and 3/4 of the people wouldn't log on that day. They just have, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So you You did. I mean, like you were able to kind of be yourself and take hold of your position there by being like a manager, kind of, or a communicator, I guess.
A little
But
bit.
what was it that got you? Like, what do you think was the key that got you into that position and to begin with, like to become a helper? Why do you think that you were chosen to be a helper over like other people? Because there's a lot of people who want to help with series and with SMPs and young people, older people who want to join into these communities and be involved. What would be the thing that you think is most important for them?
Well, it's a difficult question. I mean, I know the answer, but the thing is, if it's to try and help other people, it's probably not, because they were looking for a certain thing there. They went to the MyNight subreddit, the back end story team, and they asked for applications of people who wanted to play characters like. We're looking for help. We're looking to make this world more dynamic. Send us a character and explain why and how. And so I sent in a basic application and didn't get anything there. And then like 2 weeks later, after I figured it was all closed, I noticed that the streamers were having problems with some mods and things that I knew a lot about, and I actually sent in a follow up, kind of unsolicited, but to the main guy of, hey, there should be this character that's a mod expert, and we could name him this. We could, here's how we could build that. And it was my ability to write and kind of see the need and all those things that made him say, well, I don't know if I want that specific character, but I've got this other position I've been building. Can you do that tone? And he basically put me into what ultimately became the architect position. And I was like, yeah, this is how I'd write that and stuff. And ultimately he was like, yeah, no, that's great. Seems like you know how to envision this character. So I don't know if that's, there's not necessarily many opportunities where use your writings, kids, and your ability to create a character and you'll be a YouTuber too. Like, I don't think that's really the route to go, but that's how it ended up working out for me.
So you've done this MyNight thing. Is that when you started putting out videos and then your subscriber boost went, or your streamer viewers came out, or where was like the time where you started to just see a growth?
See a growth, it's I mean, there's different points, but I the MyNight, some people knew about me, so I was able to, when I started streaming my stuff, I got 10 or 5 to 15 people that were kind of interested and dropped in on streams to figure me out and to see what this guy was, and managed to kind of just grind up from there, following the same path as everyone else. This was before affiliate existed, so it was just, just as a no one on Twitch. But I worked my way up, and I can't think, like, I guess my first big series that I got noticed in and really picked up subscribers was probably Trollcraft. Where I got more involved, but there was a lot of time and work and building of the channel between then, so it's kind of hard to differentiate. But as far as like the next big breakout thing that I was involved in, I'd say Trollcraft. But by the time Trollcraft came around, I was probably 40-ish viewers, concurrents, typically, and I mean, just slowly doing the build.
Yeah. There's a lot of prep work that went in before that. A lot of prep work that goes into just building a channel.
Yeah. No, it's been a tremendous amount of work, and one of it's really common for people to, particularly younger kids, to I want to be a YouTuber, I want to be a streamer, and it's tough because it's like I don't want to discourage them in their dreams or anything like that, but I do want to be clear that it's like this is not about playing video games and getting paid. The video game part is a very, very, very small part. It is about producing an entertainment show, and having in maintaining a community, maintaining business contacts. I tell people, like, when they're, what do you advise? I was like, learn how to read a contract. Like, that's, you don't think about it, but you need to understand how to read a contract, and you need to understand how business works. And so I've used and particularly in the community building side, I've used a tremendous amount of my experience from the blue collar, white collar, real job world, as qmagnet defined, stated it. But I've used a tremendous amount of my real world experience and management experience in my channel building, like tremendous amounts. It's been phenomenally, anyway, very helpful.
Phenomenally.
Phenomenally. There we go. Hey, I got it out.
My professional experience.
And also, I recommend always having clear diction, children. Anyway, go ahead.
Yes. That is 2 more steps for the zine's life success. 5-step program.
5 steps. It's gonna be 40 steps by the time we're done. But go ahead.
I really love hearing that because, especially like in Minecraft and in gaming in general, I've tried to really engage with a lot of people and build cool things and create, fun content and stuff like that. And a lot of times I take my own experience because I've only really been in the Minecraft scene for a couple of years myself. Mm-hmm. And so I've taken a lot of my own experience with business and all that. And I hear from a lot of people like, you're too serious. Like you're doing too much with contracts and agreements and like all this type of stuff. But I'm refreshed to hear that that's kind of your approach that you've taken. You're like, no, that's exactly what I want to do because I want this to be a professional endeavor of mine.
Yeah.
I want this to work.
And it's presumptuous and I don't mean it to be, but I would question the level of necessarily the people that are saying that. Just because as soon as you start getting into, I mean, if you're in the CaptainSparklez, like contracts and stuff, anything he and I do, we create a contract for each other just so we understand what's going on. Like at that upper level, contract is king because there's a lot of people out there that don't like to pay their bills and are happy to get free things out of you if with a handshake and a wink and a nudge. And so, that's I've had several opportunities that I was actually brought into business groups where much bigger YouTubers than I mean, not necessarily. But they had started a venture, but they hadn't set up the business side of it at all. And I actually came in as the smaller guy and ended up running it basically because they didn't know how to do the business side. They didn't know how to work with the vendors that they were working with and how to understand this is the clientele, this is the audience, this is the the different aspects of it. So none of that is interesting to anybody unless you're in the middle of it. So I'm sorry for those of you who are yawning through the interview, but the business side is a big part of it because there's money going around. Minecraft has a fairly large economy behind it and in terms of servers and hosting and things like that. So you need to understand how to represent your ventures and yourself and how to read a contract and go, wait a minute. I mean, I don't like this part where you say that I give you my firstborn. Could we talk about that for a second?
Not the firstborn.
Yeah, no, I mean, because honestly, I'm good with you taking that one, but the line below that where I have to put something in my description above the fold, that's the real problem for me.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, I was thinking about this today. You're probably busier than a lot of other people because you've got to do the day job and the streamer. But apart from that, do you ever are able to play a game just for fun, or is it always just going towards the stream so other people can watch you?
Yeah.
I do have games that I play for fun. So, and I'm a lifelong gamer. Like I know people who do this, that it's like as soon as the camera's off, then they're not necessarily away from their computer, but they're not playing games. They don't have time, that's not, They do this as their job, and but for me, I have a Skyrim playthrough that I like to tool on occasion, and I usually have a game or two that I can fire up and go through. But that said, frequently, unless there's a specific reason that I don't want it streamed, then I'll be playing something and I'm just like, why don't I just go live right now? Like I would rather play this and talk with my chat and have that shared experience because that is the most fun for me versus I don't keep it to protect it like this is mine and you can't have it kind of thing.
Well, which I was more thinking when I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey and I'm like, I have to get every little thing on the checklist done. I'm like, that I don't know if that would be more boring, just get on with a story type thing with an audience, or I guess you have to cater to that.
It all depends. I mean, catering to the audience is a whole other topic and kind of an interesting thing, but it all depends on how you can play it, and some of it's the game. I wouldn't want to, if you were to hey, do you want 100% ACO? I'd be like, on stream, I'd be like, There's way too much. There's way too obscure little things. I don't want people sitting there having to deal with I don't know, deal with that, but it's way too much work for me to keep their engagement through all those minor things. That said, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, I'm 100%ing right now on stream, and because it's got a little bit bigger, its goals aren't so micro, and it has a good way to understand whether you've gotten it or not, and to check on that. So it depends on the game and really for me how small it is. If it's just a million tedious things, then going from picking up coin A from slot B 400 times, that's a tough sell to the audience, and you've got to have a lot of dynamic personality to kind of carry it through.
Do you play Minecraft for fun at all? Like some of the other games you might do, but do you play Minecraft as fun, or is that only on stream or only in videos?
Not only, but rarely. There's times when I can get into a project, and so it's like, especially if it's something on modded and it's grindy or something, then it's like, okay, let me just work on that, and I won't necessarily be online, but I'm just working progress for the show to get me from point A to point B, and I don't mind, I'm not necessarily hating it, but it's like it would be pretty unlikely for me to sit down at my computer not having anything to do and be like, here, let's just fire up a new Minecraft world and go explore. Like there's a lot of Minecraft in my life. If I have spare time, I'll probably go in a different direction again.
But that's all that's all modded.
Primarily, yeah.
Or custom map, probably.
Yeah.
When's the last time you played just Minecraft?
Well, I guess it depends, because it's like, I had a big project on SMP Earth, which is the current SMP I'm working on. And it's vanilla with plugins, but really I was just digging stuff out, and so I put on some music and just digging stuff out isn't terribly engaging for the audience, so I log in and just and just kind of tune out. So, and that was only a week or two ago, so I think that might meet what you're saying. But if you're talking like only modded on a single player or not modded on a single player world, I don't remember a time when I did.
Probably where you started and then played for a week and I'm done. I'm going on to modded.
Yeah, kind of. I don't think I ever got into Minecraft at a vanilla level, and usually when I'm playing vanilla, which in SMPs and stuff like that, I'll pretty quickly get to now what? And that's something that I have to kind of let me give myself a big project that I won't actually finish to occupy my time.
Yeah, I was kind of the same with as soon as I learned command blocks, it's like I don't want to go mine and dig and all that sort of thing. Like I just want to make cool stuff that can move.
I guess I'm the odd one out then, because I love just going and mining. Of course, I try and do all that off on my own time, but I'll listen to a podcast, and it's relaxing at the end of the day. I just don't do anything, just mine away.
No, it is I
creative mode is relaxing. Grab it from the inventory.
See, I don't like just sitting there in creative mode. That's not for me either. So I don't know, but I can totally relate to if you get the right music or the right something on and just kind of vibe with it as you're just digging to, then I have those games that menial task can be relaxing to me and stuff. On Terraria, when I played through, which wasn't streamed, but when I played it on my own way back when, I ended up leveling my world. I don't know if you're familiar with that game, but it's kind of a 2D Minecraft sort of setup. But your world is just it's a lot of different levels and stuff like that. And I ended up mining it out and filling it in and just evening out those mountains and valleys so you could run from one ocean to the other on the entire map and just run through. Yeah, because that was honestly what started it. Is I was like, man, I have to jump over this mountain. I'm just going to dig this mountain out. And then it just went from there to where it's like,
pixel. What is that? Smack it down.
Right.
Now, I've seen you on Trollcraft. You built there was a mountain range that was there and a volcano, and you did the huge maze, the glass maze and everything. And it seems like there was so much work that was put into that. And then half the stuff was getting blown up and destroyed. I would be heartbroken. How did you keep your sanity with putting that much work into it and then seeing stuff get leveled or burnt or destroyed? I just can't imagine it.
Well, the two things there. First off, is the map was made by Blockworks, so the original painting and everything like that. That was not me, and I don't take any credit for the original map. So,
okay,
yeah, maybe they felt bad, but I figured they got a paycheck for making the map, so they should be pretty happy with that, and that's the end of their transaction involvement. My involvement came into. Once the original map was there, they didn't do any changes. So basically anything that changed after the fact was generally me, and I got pretty good with world edit. And I can't build you say make me a house, I'll build you a wooden square, or a cube and be like, here's a door, and look, it keeps the mobs out. But I can't do fancy builds. But I did get pretty good at terraforming and stuff like that, and using the world edit paint tools and stuff. So all the dynamic things that happened through this series with the volcano was stuff that I was doing, but I didn't do the original thing. So first to clarify that, but mostly it was, it was fun, and in general, I was in control. Like they could try and blow it up. Like at one point, Craner decided to blow up the lake to get back at me, right? But it just gave me opportunities to do things. He blew up the lake and was like, "Haha, I got you." And so then because he had changed the dynamic of the lake, I just changed it out and repainted it so that the lake had spilled due to what he did, and the flood coming through it went through his house. So he logged back in, and his house is inside, like the river is torn through his house, and that's because he set it up. It's like, I'll get you. And I'm like, here's the thing. I am an OP, and you are a player, so let's talk for a second. And, but again, breaking immersion and things like that, one of the things that it exists in Trollcraft and those other series is that the audiences get really, really salty about things if their favorite streamer has something done, has a prank played on them and stuff. And while I know that a lot of people try and kind of don't break the fourth wall, for me, it's like it's important for people to understand that this is a show. I would not have broken Craner's house without saying, "Hey, Craner, is this okay?" Like I don't necessarily say, "Here's exactly what I'm going to do." He doesn't know what to expect, but I clarify or verify, I'm going to do some damage in this way. Is that all right? And then be like, "No, I'd really rather you didn't," or, "Yeah, that's fine." And then we react from there. So it's it's a produced show, and people get so caught up in this is real that it's a little problematic. Like particularly when the audience one of the reasons Trollcraft kind of didn't come back around for a second season. There were several, but one of the problems from it was that the audiences, because you have three different major streamers, their audiences started getting mad at each other and arguing, and the comments just turns into, "I can't believe that Captain Jerkface over here did this to my favorite Sunday, Cobble for life," and it just it takes away from the fun of creating the content. So I know that they really want to give that impression of, yes, it's just a game, and don't, and all, as I go fully ineloquent, but to give that idea and not break immersion for people. But when you start fighting over it, it's like, yep, we talk, like when we're not recording, we understand what's going on. Like the series is called Trollcraft. We're expecting things to be done to us,
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like, did they not understand it's like a joke between friends? That's
No, not necessarily. I mean, and part of it's a younger audience base, and that's fine. Yeah. But they haven't necessarily thought that through. They just see their favorite creator having their stuff blown up, and they're like, how could you do this to my favorite creator? The other thing, and this is a little bit ranty of me, but just that I will never understand, is in all those types of series where we can play pranks on each other and stuff, we every single one of us beg and plead, please don't tell us what the other people are doing. Please don't tell us what they've done. Please do not snitch on them. Do not tell them what I'm doing. Do not tell me. And everyone begs their audience, please don't. And there's always that one kid that I just don't understand who's like, "I know you don't want me to tell you, but did you know he's blowing up your base right now? Like, you've got to go and stop him right now. It's going to happen." And it's like, I want it to happen. Like, let it. That's why I said, don't tell me. Like, you're not doing me a favor. And for some reason, that never sinks in. But sorry, that's just like, that's been a problem point and a little bit of a rant point for me. So I apologize. Remember my pills.
Breathe.
Don't.
Breathe. You got a paper bag there.
It's okay.
Well, you mentioned, let's move away from Minecraft a little bit here.
Okay.
Because first of all, you said, I don't know about first of all, but you said like your passion is just streaming video game, not necessarily Minecraft. I'll go out on a limb and put words in your mouth and say Minecraft's more of a thing that you do for the entertainment of people rather than you just want to pick up Minecraft, or do you feel?
Yeah. I use Minecraft like I don't hate the game, and I don't I play a lot of it, but I don't hate it. I still have fun with it. But Minecraft is from a behind the scenes channel business side. It's a way to get eyes in on the channel, and then I switch games from that to other things, knowing that I'll lose 3/4 of that Minecraft audience, but having that opportunity with that remaining quarter to help establish them as fans of me rather than fans of Minecraft, and to show them that there's a lot going on here and it's a fun show and all of those things. So I use it as knowing it'll pull my best numbers as the beginning, as kind of the front piece, and then I kind of swap people over, knowing that and as a way to strengthen the channel and to get more, again, fans of me versus just fans of that game that are going to leave as soon as I change from it. Because I've seen many channels that they focus on one game, they build on one game, they get very popular on one game, and then that person gets tired of the game, or the game tapers off, or, interest in the game fades, and they've got nothing to fall back on. And that's how you end up many times, and not with no one in mind, that's how you end up with partners that you go in and you're like, you have partner, but there's only a few people watching what's going on. And it's, they left their audience behind because their audience wasn't a fan of them. Their audience was a fan of what they were doing with that game. And that is a very, very fragile position. So I specifically set out from the beginning to avoid that and to make sure I built with that in mind.
You spoke to my heart, because every time I put a map out, I got a huge subscriber boost. And then where's the next one? Where's the next one? Like, it takes me like a year and a half to make one. Man.
A year and a half, like 4 years.
To make a map?
I don't know. Wasn't there a huge gap between, what was it, Destiny 2 and 3?
Destiny 2.
Here we go again.
Diversity
was amazing. Yeah. No. Well, there was a break, but to actually build it was 22 months, or I can't remember what it was, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah. I know that was your favorite Minecraft experience of all time.
Of all time.
I appreciate that.
That actually was a very good experience. So,
Thank you.
And we had fun, and we tried to commission you for more of it, and then you basically said you weren't interested in working with me, as I recall. Well, so I'm not bitter about it. Let's continue.
Oh gosh!
How did this go this way? I did not expect it.
Oh, were you expected to be in control of this interview? Because
this is Trollcraft season 2 right now.
Okay. Anyway,
IRL.
But back to you. Like, just you were saying.
Enough of my self-wallowing. You did mention Beat Saber. It's one of, I assume, your favorite games. It
is a favorite, yes.
I have a list of like games you streamed, and it's one of your top games that you streamed. So, and we were talking before the episode, you said you had a crazy setup for this. Now, all these setups for Beat Saber to me look insane, because I don't know how they film behind them and the things coming out like, you're not seeing what you're filming, right?
Well, no. I mean, I just see the game. So I actually, in my setup, so it's called mixed reality, and you use a program called Live, live.tv, and basically what that program does is, if the game includes their SDK, then it allows you to have a perspective camera over the virtual space that can be moved. And so you've got this play space, imagine a court or something like that, and I'm facing basically a wall, and the camera can be moved at virtually shown as at any place. And if you get the camera looking down at me in the exact angle that the game thinks that it's looking down at me, and the exact height and everything like that, then the perspective of the space is going to line up with the perspective of what the camera's seeing. Even though the camera has no idea what the game is doing, and even though the game has no idea where the camera is, as long as in that you position it virtually, then it looks like I'm holding the game pieces, and you get that mixed reality. So that's what Live brings into it. In order to make this work, I've got a green screen corner where I've got green screen on one wall, green screen on another, and then the floor. So I'm kind of playing in the corner of a room. I've got a additional camera behind me that's mounted, and it's a G85. It's a pretty nice mirrorless camera, and then that runs into the computer. Then it's like that runs into Liv. Liv takes that camera, composites it with the game, and then I view those locally through OBS. And this is not my streaming PC. This is my gaming PC. But I view those locally through OBS, and OBS can tie into the actual OpenVR stream coming through the headset with a plugin, so that way I can put my first-person perspective down in the corner. I have OBS compositing first person with the composite from Liv, which is the composite of the camera, which is the viewing of the game, and then I full screen the preview of that, and then on my streaming PC, I capture that full screen preview and send that out to people, so they're seeing a capture of a capture of a capture of a capture.
I can tell you are so proud of the setup the way you're describing it.
It's fun to describe. It's like no, you don't understand. Like it gets wild, and that's not even getting into the audio routing portion of it. But there was a lot that unfortunately I kind of built it piece by piece. But my very first Beat Saber stream was just the first person view that you can see if you go to some people's like a lot of the YouTube Beat Saber videos that you just see, again, their first-person view. Now they've got the first-person view backed up so you can see the swords a little bit more, and it's, you've got a little bit better field of view, but it's still that first person. I started out there, and then I added in a camera that was looking at me so you could see me, like, not in the virtual space, but in the corner you could see me playing
picture thing?
Yeah, picture-in-picture of just me in the headset, right? And then as... Not to take it too inappropriate, but the way I describe it is it looks like you're fighting off bees while being tased in the testicles. Like it's kind of, it's like it's that's
a quote.
It's the best way to describe it, and I but so I had that for a while, and I was like, you know what, this isn't my best look. The tased look isn't really what I'm going for, and at that point, I was able to kind of start figuring out how do I get the mixed reality portion in. qmagnet will rejoin us for a little while.
Do you have an IRL version of you've seen that? That's exactly what I look like. We're doing that guy over there.
No, but it's kind of like just describing like the moment that you walk through a spider web and you immediately know kung fu. Like it pulls that visual to mind. So I just descriptive words create a description in mind, sort of thing.
Man, like how long did it take you to figure out how to do that crazy setup?
That's hard to
do that live.
No.
We're gonna figure out how to do this, guys, right now.
No, I like to, when I'm working on stuff, I like to not say anything and then just be like, click, and people go, what? Like, so it's hard for me to say specifically how long, just because it's an evolutionary process, right? You start here and then it's like, oh, I've got the rough camera here, and then I've got the nice, and then after a while it's like, oh, by the way, I upgraded the camera and suddenly it's all clear, sharper focus, and oh, by the way, I expanded this space, and now I've figured out how to do a lookup table so that you don't notice the green glow around me, and now I figured out, so it's an iterative process. But there's many hours of work that go into, like, just figuring out how to hang a green screen in a way that doesn't have shadows and stuff in a cube format where I don't have professionals coming and bringing that, but instead it's like I'm over there with a steamer steaming out wrinkles. Like, this is fun. This is my life. This is the glamorous YouTube life I was looking for, sort of thing.
Yep.
Another step for the zine.
Step 4, steamer. But so there's many hours that go into building this, and a lot of patience and so many cables. Oh my God, so many cables. I can't.
Have you? But that's on PC. That's on Steam. You're playing that.
Yes.
And what do you use for the virtual VR view?
I have the Valve Index, but and I had a Vive Pro originally. Upgraded to the Valve Index. Valve Index at the current at time of recording is, in my opinion, kind of the top tier, and so where this is my job, I like to kind of stay on the nicer end of things. And And that's been one thing, like equipment wise. This is diverting a little bit, but that's been one thing that equipment wise has been lucky for me, is that where I have the day job and that supplement, that supports my lifestyle. As the stream has become more successful, I've been able to I'm not diverting that to food. I'm able to put it back into the stream, and so I'm able to get kind of nicer things. But even still, the technical difficulties are the life of a recording person, and I have to fight my audio just as much today as I did back then. But now they're nicer things that I shouldn't have to fight, but I still do. So that's been my upgrade. It's like, now you should work, you don't. So,
oh, that's me. That's totally me.
Have you gotten your cables under control?
No.
Struggled with that.
No, they're never far from me. Where
did these go? I don't know.
No, that's the thing, is people. It's a little bit of an ongoing joke that my nest of cables, but I do know, like, you could unplug everything and I could put it all back together pretty quick. I do know where everything goes and what they're for and why they're there. But it's just a lot. And getting into streaming and doing this, the thing that no one tells you is that you have to become an audio engineer. If you go to the dual PC setup, you're in for some learning, and sometimes, and if you don't know what an audio chain is, you're gonna. But
wow.
So.
Yeah, definitely the audio side of things is so intense, and it takes. I've spent 2.5 years now, like, just little tiny tweaks all the time.
Yep.
And I'm still like, it's not good enough. There's always something I can do better.
There's always something you want to improve, and there's always something that's like just on its way out or just problematic that you're like, I should really fix that, but I don't wanna. And you just kind of deal with it until finally in the middle of the stream, you're like, hey guys, what's...
Exactly.
So, that's a pretty common...
that was not a technical error. That was intentional.
Yes, it was.
We did not do that.
I've got the physical mute, so not too difficult.
Gosh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry. Everyone at home's going, is my headphones okay now?
Right.
That's right. Now, we talked a little bit about your job, which I don't need to get into, but I was curious, what do your coworkers think, or people in real life, when they first saw you, or did they watch you or anything like that?
I mean, certainly with my day job, I've never really been that open about it, just because these are people that I have to work in a professional environment with, and I'm a very different person, obviously, on when I'm doing the show, and there's a lot more jokes about boobs and butts and things that probably I don't take to the corporate environment. But
I would imagine.
Ideally, the other, hello HR again. There's a time and a place, and I'm very appropriate that way. So I never really advertised it there. Over time, it's become kind of known. And I remember at one point going to, because I work at a remote kind of sub office. My corporate headquarters is in Indiana. And I remember at one point being flown out to Indiana to go to corporate for things. And one of the other guys was like, so your link was being passed around by a bunch of people here. And I was just like,
Uh-oh. That's a guy who looks like me. I don't know who that is.
Yeah? You didn't watch it, did you? And but I haven't had anyone that's like, I've been contacted by one person who was kind of, I mean, I don't know what her intentions were, whether they were flirty or just commiserating and just, but she kind of out of someone I didn't know from corporate, like, hey, I saw your video's not bad, and it's like, hi, thanks, but it was, I try and keep kind of the lives separate. That said, I did find out that one viewer works in the same business park as me, and I was at the business park diner, and they came up and they were like, hey, are you Zine? And it was like Christmas for my coworkers, because they knew about it at that point, like the other people at my table, but they were just like, oh, we're going to get you with this one for so long. And so for the next couple of weeks, whenever I go over to ask them something, I'll be like, hey, are you Zine?
Yeah.
Not right now. I'm not.
Not right now.
But not that I like. It was cool to be to have that they came up and stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm like how dare you? But it was just it was a deer in headlights kind of moment again of that, like, okay, the worlds are colliding a bit right now. You know, I had point A, point B, and all of a sudden they're mixed, and so that was a moment. But generally speaking, I guess to very roundabout answer your question, I don't typically share it with them, and it's known at this point. But I don't like, hey, did you see the show last night or anything like that? Like, hopefully, I've had a few that were like, yeah, I saw a little bit last night, or hey, I watched your channel a little bit last night, and it was like, oh, hopefully not during the later half, but okay. And I don't ask follow-up questions because I just don't want to know. Honestly, I try and keep the worlds a little bit separate still.
Oh man, when my work found out I did some YouTube video, we were in a meeting and they put it on the screen for the whole people to watch. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah,
why they're like, why are you so nice on your videos?
This isn't you at all.
No.
Dude, my grandma found out. I don't know how. I guess maybe she was on Facebook randomly, the one time out of 5 years that she's on, and she found my link and she jumped in and started like chatting with everybody during a stream, and everybody like the stream basically stopped to like talk to my grandma. Grandma Stifflered.
Hey. Yeah. I mean, I know I work with people who have their family in chat, and so, a friend of mine I was playing with the other day, and I made a your mom joke to him, and he was like, well, you could talk to her, she's in chat right now, and it was kind of like
oh, you can't write
that's a wrap, folks. Gotta go. Yeah. So you know, I know that my kind of my immediate family, like my nephews and nieces, as far as I'm aware, as far as they tell me, they're teenagers. So who's to say? Or teenagers, early 20s. But they think it's kind of cool and kind of keep an eye out and just, you know, hopefully I'm the cool uncle. But other than that, I try and keep the world separate.
Yeah. Well, hey, before we get too far away from the variety streaming topic, if you were going to start streaming today, would you do variety streaming?
Absolutely.
Okay. Really?
Yeah, definitely. You can, and it just goes back to exactly what we were talking about earlier, where if you focus on one thing, then eventually that one thing isn't relevant, or you don't want to do that one thing anymore, and then you have nothing to stand on after that. So variety streaming is by far the harder way to go about it. It is much more difficult to build an audience that's going to show up for you rather than for a game. And so, you know, like I said, I use the game to build my audience, and those are two very different things that a lot of people don't understand. There's an audience for the game, and there's an audience for you, and your goal is to convert as many of the game audience into you audience as possible every stream. Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, whether I'm successful or not, and whether I could be successful or not, is a different question. And that's all speculative. I don't know. It seems to be working out so far. But if you were to put my viewers back to zero, it would still be that tough grind. And I don't know if I'd ever get seen and noticed. But I don't think that for the health of a channel that I would want to, or the health of my channel that I would want to focus on a singular thing and not go down that route a second time.
That's really interesting that you think of that you're intentionally saying, yes, it is harder to start a variety channel, but I would still do it because I know me and what I want.
I want the flexibility, and I want that, like, again, I want people to, if they're here to enjoy me, I want them to be here to enjoy me, not here to enjoy Minecraft as played by me. And so that's, but absolutely it's harder in most cases, and particularly, you know, where I see this really hurt people is when they're competing at top level, which isn't. I've never been competitive enough to get into the esports side, or really, like, I just don't have that drive, and I respect those that do. But if you get really good at, say you were, you know, a fantastic Anthem player and the best in the world, and then the world moves on from Anthem, and you don't have that next game ready to go, and you're not the best at that, then who's watching you? You know?
Yeah. Well, what about like singing? Twitch sings. I believe you might have been a part of that. That's not necessarily a video game, is it? No comment.
The singing is a whole other topic. I have done a little bit of that, and I've been kind of pushed into it, or encouraged into it, I guess, through some of my friends, and it's just fun to do with friends. So that's the friend interaction that really drives that for me. And I'm a very musical based person. You can show me the finest fine art in the world, and I, as of yet, have never found any art or anything like that moved me and created that reaction in me. Not to disparage it, just for me personally, it's not been the way to kind of talk to me. But beautiful musical pieces, whether it's a pop song or classical, if it talks to me, it talks to me, and I'm moved. So I love music, and it's a big part of my just who I am, honestly. And so singing is a kind of an extension of that, but there's also that I'm not trained, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't have I'm pretty much dummy average for where my vocal range is. I don't necessarily have a broad range. My voice is neither high tenor nor deep bass. Like I'm completely average and uninteresting there. And then in addition to that, that's where my stage fright lies. I feel even to this day, for as many videos, as many things on camera, and as comfortable as I can be on camera, I still use a Twitch Sings avatar when I sing, because I don't like being watched while I'm singing. Is still so very terrifying and vulnerable to me. But that's one of the reasons that I've been pushing on it, is because it is. I want to push past that, and I want to get to like where I can do it, at least, if not fantastically, then at least the best that I can do with what instrument I have, and that sort of thing. So that's really been my push myself out of my comfort zone. And so posting those videos and having those there has been very tough, and I'm starting to get better or feel okay about it. And the audience is very, very, very supportive, if not more supportive. Yeah. But one of the problems for me is that I have not pitch perfect, but I have really good hearing for notes. I can actually hear a song and I can sound it out on the piano and stuff, which I always thought was common, but it turns out isn't terribly common. And so when I listen to that playback, I know I can tell exactly when I go flat. I can tell all those flaws, and because I want to do better, then I'm very hypercritical of it. And so people are like, "It's not that bad. You're fine. Like, I enjoy it." And I'm just like, "Nope. Listen, the bridge right here. I lost it." And
perfectionist.
So anyway, that's something that I'm pushing to make myself better at. I'm actually looking at lessons and stuff like that, but it's a very much a side thing and something I'm not comfortable with really at all yet, other than I enjoy it.
I was going to say, I when I was Googling info on you, I found a SoundCloud.
Yes.
Of your music.
Yes.
So you definitely are music. And it was like I don't really know the genres really well. It was like a techno-y ambient type.
Yeah, I love the piano, so almost everything's piano based, and then I build up off of that. And I actually tried, like, most of the songs that are there, I can tell you what I was going for. Like, here I'm going for a higher tempo song. Here I'm going for a emotional, evocative song. Like, I usually have a target for each one that I was doing that I specifically was building for. But yeah, there's not a ton of songs there, and none of them are like, I'm using canned loops that came with the audio program that I've been using. So it's not like I'm playing instruments or anything like that. I'm just arranging loops in various different ways. But I went through most of that is actually from my divorce. It was music, creating music was the only thing I found that truly distracted me and made me, when I was feeling really down and going through the difficult times, that was a full brain activity that that occupied me in a way that I couldn't be worrying about other things. And so a lot of that came kind of from that point. And then the last song, it's called K3, but I don't know, that was an anomaly in that it just came together. I didn't struggle with it. Every piece just fell into place, and I put it, and I was happy with it. And every time I do something new, I'd be like, yes, that's perfect. I mean, and as weird as it is, in the middle of it, I was like, I feel like this is just, it's almost there, but not quite. And I don't know why. And somehow I dragged, of all things, a foghorn into it. And the foghorn was like, perfect. That, I mean, like, yes, every song needs a foghorn. Like it was so out there, and it just was like, I can't even tell you what part of me was like, this is the sound I need, but I dropped it in and just loved it. So
you're like the Christopher Walken. I got a fever.
Yeah.
For more foghorn.
For more foghorn. Yeah. Well, I mean, but so yeah, putting together music and stuff, I am very musically inclined, and that was a lot of fun. And I don't mind showing and sharing those. Like the singing is the vulnerability thing. The music stuff is like, cool, go look, have fun. Just don't listen to my Twitch Sings videos, please.
Well, okay, so we won't include any Twitch Sings clips.
I mean, if you want to, you want to, because again, it's like I'm pushing myself.
Google them.
I'm pushing myself out of my boundaries. So, like, the point is to get to be uncomfortable. But if you like, the initial response is, "Yeah, go look at those. Don't look at those." But I post them to force myself. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying. I post them to force myself to get over that, to move past that boundary with myself.
Well, so, okay, pushing past boundaries. Let's say you go to like TwitchCon or, big convention like that, and you're there with a whole bunch of your friends and they want to go do karaoke. Would you push past your boundaries and go do karaoke?
I've never managed to do karaoke in public. That would be tough. I suspect that eventually I'd be able to be pushed into it, but I don't know. The initial reaction is, oh, hell no. But again, it's pushing past that and growing past that. So maybe at this point, yes, I don't know.
Maybe with the right people.
Yeah, Well, I mean, I assume if I'm at TwitchCon hanging out with friends at karaoke, then I'm with the right people. I have my best friend that I've gotten to know has been through Twitch. My partner that I am with, I met through Twitch. Like, Twitch is my people. So at that point, I assume I'll be with the right folks. But yeah, that would be tough.
I know that you had a big a passion for like mental health and stuff.
Yes,
and I would assume a lot of your viewers latch onto you for that. Well, I lost my camera.
Yeah, and then he went down the elevator. I didn't know he had an in-house elevator. I mean, I don't know if I latch onto is the phrasing that I would use, but I definitely feel like I try and speak to the viewers about that, and most of them don't know until they get there. So it's not like some shows are out there as mental health positivity and come here, and I don't have while I'm in those circles and while I have that presence, that's not really my advertising or how I'm known, but it's kind of how I give back to myself and what and just trying to use the opportunity that I have to talk to so many people. But I try very much to be the older brother or the person that I wish I would have known when I was in high school, when I was struggling through things. Because I had generally untreated depression through high school, and I had when I was younger, I had a brother that committed suicide. And went through the family dynamic on that, and this is 20 plus years ago, so I'm not, I'm sorry to hear that stuff. It's fine, but I got to know a lot of mental trauma. My mother has chronic depression, so there were a lot of things that I struggled with through high school in the mental health side, and the way that interacted with just the general somewhat crappy experience that being a teenager in high school can be. And so I try and speak to that, and I try and, help them understand that I can relate. I remember those struggles and give what advices or thoughts or perspective that I can. A lot of things, it's knowing that I can't stop you from feeling that way, but maybe if I tell you, then it'll click at some point down the future, particularly. And with that, I think of like I really like this girl, but I'm afraid to go talk to her because I don't know whether she likes me, and I don't know whether, and I'm afraid to find out. Like, trying to help people understand, like, listen, you're spending time thinking about this girl. If she doesn't like you, then you want to find a different girl to spend time thinking about that does like you. You want to like people who do like you. So you know, and I understand fully that doesn't make you feel any better about going and facing that fear and talking to her, and I can't help you past that. But maybe at some point, suddenly that'll click, and maybe not.
Yeah.
But I try and be kind of that voice of I don't think I'm seen too much as a parental figure, and so I'm not tuned out as just lecturing, but try and help them understand, you know, it's okay to be you know, to have an alternate sexuality. It's okay to you know, to have these struggles. It's okay to want to talk to someone or to seek help. Or even be on medication, you know, antidepressants and stuff like that. I'm on an antidepressant that I use every day and have been for decades, and it's great. I wouldn't want to give it up, and I don't feel any weaker as a person because I take that pill than if I didn't. It just means that I'm rational when certain events happen, and I try and liken it to you know, despite the stigma that mental health has, I try and liken it to, you know, as a diabetic, no one thinks you're weaker because you need insulin. Well, chronic depression is serotonin levels being incorrect in your brain, and you take the pill and you help level, you know, have the right level of serotonin there. So what's the difference? And people are like, I guess there isn't. And it's a chemical thing. Like, it's not that you're weak. It's not a will thing. It's not, you're not strong enough. It's the chemicals in your brain are like need a little tweaking, and that's fine. And it's just the same as if you have taking an antibiotic, if you have an infection, anything, you're just treating something that biologically is slightly off. And I don't understand why people feel like, you know, that you can treat mental health with the power of stubbornness. You know, and that's really the approach to it. Like, have you ever, you know, going up to someone who, you know, is dealing with depression and been like, have you considered just not feeling bad, you know, trying to be happier? And it's like walking up to someone walking up to someone with a broken arm, being like, have you considered just not having your arm be broken?
There's this movie, X-Men 2, I think, and they kind of underlaid the whole mutants are more of like a minority and discriminated classes. Have you tried not being a mutant? The mom said to the guy, like, wow, they're really speaking a hidden message there. But
well, so I really hope that some people hear that and are encouraged and inspired to hear a successful streamer, you know, who is saying these things, and that hopefully that clicks for them. But also, like, going back to the first thing that you were saying, sometimes being an advocate for mental health awareness, positive environment, and all that is not about lecturing, not about being a therapist on stream, but it's about creating a fun, good, positive environment, right? Where you guys can game together, where you accept each other. You say yes?
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. I mean, there's certainly things that venture into almost therapy territory. And one of the things that, you know, I mean, but it just depends on the situation. One of the things that I'm really happy about is now there's actually a therapist, Dr. McLive, who I've become good friends with, who is a licensed therapist who streams on Twitch and has his show kind of about gaming, and he calls it Gaming Sessions with Dr. Mick. But he talks about mental health and that sort of thing. But we have a DM kind of group between him and my best friend, where we share problems and we talk about things and how to best approach them and handle them, so that we can be giving expert advice and guidance and things, you know, as much as possible. And so it is almost on that side of the therapy, but to a lighter end, that's for the extreme cases of you know, people who are really struggling. On the lighter end, it's the most important thing for me is having an environment where people want to be there, where they feel accepted, where they feel it's almost a sanctuary of you know, you have to deal with a lot of judging people and a lot of obnoxious people in your day, and you can come here and feel like that's not the case here, at the very least, where you don't have to be feel judged and stuff, because it is a non-taboo environment and you can ask questions, and it's like, okay, let's talk about it. And you know, that it's okay, but just really be a place where people can feel like they congregate and have friends around them, and keeping the toxicity out, because toxic people are cancers on Twitch channel chats. If you have toxic people there and you don't deal with them, then the people that aren't toxic aren't going to want to deal with them and they'll leave, and other toxic people will come in and fill their place. So they literally are a cancer that you need to cut out and keep out. And that is a very, very active effort to make sure that channel culture stays okay. And, some days you win, some days you lose. But to ultimately have this inviting place requires active effort of saying, again, kind of going back to the variety streamer thing, I'm going to have fewer viewers because I'm not willing to allow this type of person here, instead of saying, well, a view's a view or whatever. No, if you are causing problems, then you are not welcome here. And my primary rule is the D-bad rule, which is don't be a dick. And if you don't know what that is, then you probably are one, because everyone knows whether or not they are or not. Like, and people are like, well, can I do this? Can I do that? And I'm like, if you're having to ask where the lines are, congratulations, you qualify, qualify. Like, and I give my mods full contextual power to look at a situation and say, not every line, I don't want you get 3 rules and breaks and you're out or anything that people can lawyer. It's either you're here for the good of the community or for yourself to, have and enjoy, or you're here to cause a problem. Goodbye. And it's that simple. So I've very specifically avoided having a rule sheet for my channel. I very specifically avoided having those sort of tiers, and instead saying, context is key on what happens, how we handle it, and everything like that. And so again, you ask a small question, I'm like, here's the entire world of an answer, but there you go.
It's really complicated.
It really is. And, I can speak at length even beyond this of how passionate I feel of how, the interacting with your moderators, how to kind of train them and help them to be representatives of you to the chat. They are your ambassadors. And I talk to a lot of other creators and actually help a lot to kind of give perspective on things they can do with their channels, and to show them how I've created this balance and why it seems to be working for me thus far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that kind of, okay, so that segues into my last question, and unless Q has something else he wants to say, we've got another little segment that we want to get to, but the whole balance and rules and toxic people and everything, I went into your Discord, and one of the first things I noticed was that you have a debates and discussions channel. Now, we don't have to talk about what's inside of there. I am blown away that you are so brave to have a debates and discussions channel in your Discord. It's like, it's a risk that I have been afraid of ever taking. How do you keep that channel from going absolutely insane, toxic, people fighting, hating each other? I don't get it. I don't understand.
That's interesting, because it's like, it's not difficult in that if you're the sort of person who's going to go in there and be toxic, then we don't want you here and we don't invite you. It's not, I don't see that as brave, just because the audience is already respectful and they want to continue to be there, and they know that if they become extremely disrespectful, then they're going to be asked to leave. And it's not that we ban people all the time, and it, like, it kind of makes it sound like you step out of line at all, we're going to kick you out. We're actually extremely tolerant as long as we understand your intent versus the person who is trying to be that troll and trying to be that ass, at which point, have a nice day.
I haven't been banned yet, so they're pretty tolerant. I'll say that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you only joined 2 days ago, but that's okay. It's fine. I saw it happen. I saw it go down.
It's like monitoring my text there.
No, I follow pretty much everything that happens there. I don't get a chance to reply nearly as much as I used to. And I kind of I'm a little regretful of that, but even still, I wake up, I scroll through, I kind of keep an eye. And so things like where you were talking to the community and saying, hey guys, does anyone have any anecdotes for Zine? We can't let him know, he's asleep right now. Right. And I'm just like, okay, I'm pretty good at keyword speed reading. And so I was like, scroll back.
They were just like, well, he's beautiful. That's my anecdote. I'm like, that's not a secret. Everybody knows that.
Okay, so here's the thing: is communication is a huge part of being a leader, and you did not clearly communicate what you were looking for. So they're seeing new guy who they don't necessarily know come in and be like, "Hey guys, anyone have zine stories?" And they're like, Who the hell's this dude? Like, you know. So
I was trying to hide it from you. Okay.
Okay.
Tell me a secret story for the podcast. Anyway,
Anyway.
let's wrap it up and go to our fun section.
Okay.
Because that wasn't fun. But
I'm enjoying it. Yeah, this is a good time.
Yeah. Okay, so what we got a couple more sections here.
All right.
These are this first one we do. It's called Rapid Fire.
Rapid fire.
I'm just gonna ask you 5 questions. Give me your thoughts quick as you can or as long as you can, whatever you want.
Okay,
Just fun little question.
Just real quick though, in all these answers and responses that I've given, at what point do you think that I can be quick and concise in a response?
Like, well, we can condense it down to like 3 words or less.
You're talking. Oh wow. Okay, you're talking to the wrong person if you're looking for concise. I like to communicate. Anyway, go ahead.
Man, I'm really going to put you on the spot for the first question.
All
Are
right.
you ready? Number 1. And this is Stifler's fault. What's the best thing about owning a Tesla?
The autopilot.
See, that was easy. Autopilot.
And that was 3 words or less.
I didn't even know it had autopilot. You just click it and you go to the store.
Not specifically, but you know, he's advertising. And see, there goes the 3 words. He's advertising that they'll have full self-driving here soon. But I'm not so sold on that. But what it can do is I travel to my parents, and that's several hundred miles, and I go there fairly frequently. And on the highway, it's really good. I can put it into a mode, and it stays in the lanes and adjusts, you know, dynamically for the speed, the speed limit, as well as cars in front of you and that sort of thing. So it's never a point where you're like, you know, you're eating a bagel, reading the paper, and kicked back in the seat.
I was going to say you can start a Beat Saber game while you're driving down the highway.
But there is most people who have driven understand, you know, you get there and it's like, regardless of how long the drive was, there's a exhaustion or an energy drain that's involved in it because you're actively watching for all these different things and you're doing your active scanning and all that if you're driving properly. And this one kind of basically makes it so that your cycles are less. It's handling most of it. You keep an eye out, but then, you know, you can you're not as focused and it's a little bit more relaxing. And so on those longer drives, I arrive at my parents' house and I'm a lot more refreshed and
super awesome answer. Rapid fire question number 1. Okay, Stifler number 2. Rapid fire question.
Rapid fire number 2. Do you have a favorite mod or mod pack for Minecraft that you've ever used?
Probably Applied Energistics. I have a lot of fun building those systems. I've built a lot of them, but there's a lot of things you can do. And when you get it like past the point of just inventory storage to where you get into the auto crafting and things that you can do there, you know, like creating a system where I can make it so that it always maintains approximately 200 glass in the system. And if I pull some glass out, it'll automatically smelt some more sand until I have 200 glass available in the system again, and that sort of thing. Those are fun to arrange and put together.
Okay, number 3.
Now I know.
Pirates or ninjas?
Ninjas.
Ninjas. Really?
Just as simple as that.
Good answer.
Good
number
answer.
4.
Samurai swords, man. Come on. Throwing stars? Heck yeah.
There we go. Yeah. Light on their feet.
What do pirates have? A blunderbuss? Come on.
Well, they have the I forget we call the sword.
Sabre?
They have the pointy thing. I don't know what their sword's called.
Number
4.
Cutlass.
Cutlass, yes. Cutlass.
Right.
Rapid fire question number 4. You have a favorite genre of music?
No.
No.
Whoa.
Do you have any that you listen to more than others?
Yeah, absolutely. I have but as far as a favorite genre, no. If I like the song, I like the song. Whether it's country, whether it's hip hop, whether it's rap, whether it's pop, whether it's alternative, whether it's rock, whether it's classical. I would say the only genre that I don't get into very much is I'm not a huge jazz fan. But that's, you know, just again, with all due respect to people who are and who create jazz, it's just doesn't speak to me as much. It's a little more, it's like, it's like listening to music while having ADD. I don't know. It's, you know, it's just, I never know where it's going to go and I don't ever hit that flow. But yet the thing is jazz is very vibing to people who do hear it and do understand it. So it's a personal thing. It's not that genre sucks. It's just, it doesn't speak to me personally.
Who is Prankenite?
So Prankenite was the account. I can't remember who is that. The Zine account that was there before, or is it someone else? I can't remember.
Does anybody know what this is? I thought it was secret info.
It's the original name. Like you can look up a name on all the previous names on a Minecraft account, and it's the original name of either the Zine account or one of the others that I have. But when I first bought that account, I was originally going to use it as a jokester account for during my night, and so I just like thinking of a name. I was like, Prankanite, and so but about 10 seconds later, I was like, nah, that's dumb, and it changed. Like it didn't last an hour, let alone a day. But that was the original name that the account was bought under, and so occasionally I'll have people who look up obscure facts and think they're very clever, digging into the thing that are like, where's this coming from?
I tried.
I love this so much.
But that's
Speaking
where
of obscure facts.
Yep.
We are going to go into the last section here.
Okay.
Last section. I love that Q gets the brunt of all the jokes today. It's so rare that happens. Thank you, Zine, for being.
It's
so
the price
amazing.
to pay to have this wonderful man on the show.
Yep.
I will do it anytime.
All right. So our last section, we do a little bit of trivia. We have 5 trivia questions, and these are based on a variety of different things. But for you, they're going to be based on some of the games that you have streamed and played on YouTube and all.
Oh God, I've forgotten so much. But okay,
perfect. You're ready for this.
Let's see. So 5 questions, and based on what you get, the score that you get, we'll give you like a certificate afterwards that you can pin on your wall.
Yeah,
done in MS Paint in 14 colors.
Reddit silver. Thanks.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know.
Okay. So, here we go. First question. Should be a nice little slow ball for you, okay?
He ruined that one. Do you want to skip that one or?
I'm going to skip the first one. Yeah.
Okay.
First question. When was the first TwitchCon? What year?
When was it? 2015.
Yeah. Yep.
Ding!
Is that correct?
Ding, ding,
I believe that's correct.
Yes, it is. Good job.
I was going to give you bonus points for the month, but then I realized they're always the same month, so it's not that hard. All right. You ready for question number 2?
No,
consecutively.
Okay, now I am.
Harder. Okay. Beat Sabre or Beat Saber game studio is named Beat Games. What country are they from?
I don't know. I know it's European, but I think it's even Scandinavian. I would say Norway, but I don't know.
You want to do multiple choice, or are you happy with Norway?
I mean, if you've got things,
not a clue at all.
If you want to throw it, have me grab, but I don't know. I've never looked into them that close. I know that Freak I can tell you that Freak, their primary mapper, was just a community mapper who created the song Lagrange, and I believe that was so that song map, which is really, really fun to play and really difficult, is what actually ended up getting him hired, and now he's the primary mapper there. So I do know a little bit, but I don't.
Just give him the answer.
That's okay. It is the Czech Republic.
Oh. Okay.
Question number 3. In your last episode that you uploaded to the Deep End, you had a panda friend that you saved and then left behind to be alone forevermore. You monster. What was his name?
Probably George, but I don't know. Oof. George or Steve or something. I usually go for like the most mundane, boring names. Carl. Something like that. Those are kind of
start with a B. Start with a B.
This was a much more clever name.
Oh, was it?
B.
Yeah.
Start with a
Bubbles.
I'm sorry.
I don't like Deep End was a while ago, man. You think I couldn't tell you what the last episode I uploaded of what series that was the last episode I uploaded. Now you're calling me back to Deep End. The most memorable and best thing about Deep End is the animation by Genestator of Jordan and I discussing the egg shop. So if you haven't seen that, then that's worth looking up. Genestator's animation of the egg shop with CaptainSparklez and Zine, and that was the best thing to come out of Deep End. But what was his name?
Bilboat Baggins.
Yeah. I would. I was like, all right. I
You
assume
monster.
it's probably
You've forgotten him.
yeah. I generally try and avoid pets and things in the games because I end up either getting them killed or else like putting them in a corner because I don't want to get them killed, and then they just sit there like lonely and forgotten because I'm not going like, no, Steve, I'd let you come with me, but you're going to get killed if I do. But
Poor
Bilbo Baggins. Oh, okay. Like it's like
Bilbo Baggins.
maybe okay. Seems like something clever. So that was obviously me. I don't know. Maybe someone maybe suggested in chat.
Maybe in chat.
I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Question number 4, Q.
Okay. We didn't really get into your Alien Isolation speed run,
That's too bad. It's a fun
which
area.
I was hoping to ask you about. So
Yeah.
this question is about that. So on speedrun.com, you're listed.
Mhm.
I don't know if you knew that. You're ranked in a particular place for all missions nightmare speedrun
Mhm.
at 2 hours 56 minutes.
Right.
I'll give it to you within 5 places. What place are you on that list?
I'll have you guys know that I am ranked 5th in the world out of 5. For the particular speedrun category.
You're guessing 5th?
Yeah.
That's your no. You are incorrect.
Wow, I must have moved. Someone must have
you
gotten
are
in front of me because. Oh,
29th place.
you're looking. Okay, so you're looking at a different
Um,
category. There's multiple categories, and the one that
Wait,
I.
really?
Nightmare.
Yeah, I'm on.
All missions.
If you look at any percent, nightmare, any percent, I think not no crouch, but no FPS. Well, anyway, there's one that I'm 5th in, but yeah,
All right.
I'm looking it up.
If you are 5th, we'll give you that point.
You have to go to a certain tab because it was like they went into assisted or VSync. They subdivided it. Now you know.
I was like, he's not gonna know that because he hasn't played that in years. Or do you always keep tabs on who's
No. Like I haven't.
Oh,
Is he?
he's right.
Oh, I hope you didn't put the error sound effect because you got to put the ding sound effect in now.
I've got to error us.
That was not my research. That was Stifler's research. I just want to point out.
Yeah, there's one category that was that I didn't work on, but the one that I ended up on 5th, like that was when I was actually submitting times to speedrun and was doing the splits and everything like that and was actually focusing on that. And then just like almost days after I posted that and got to that point, they subsplit the new category, which involved a new tool, or I think it was FPS. Like I can't remember the exact split between it, but most of the speedrunners all went to this new way, and I kind of just stuck there because 3 hours is about the perfect time for a stream. So I kind of and I stopped competing at that point, and it kind of moved past me. So I worked my way up to there, and it's like I'm 5th in the world out of 5, because only 5 people ever submitted times for that particular category. But
you're still 5th.
I am.
Out of all the millions of billions of people in the world, you're 5th.
And
place.
I don't think I can it takes me about 3 hours and 20 minutes now to do a speed run. I still do one every couple of months. But it's about 3 hours and 20 minutes to 3 hours, 3.5 hours. I don't move that fast anymore. I don't know whether it's age or there's a few different reasons, but yeah, I can't beat that time anymore.
I'm so old. Please, Walker. Please do forgive our research team. No, so I saw you on the list. There's a long list of a bunch of people, and you've beat a bunch of people on that list. And so once I saw that, I was like, okay, well, I don't have to look at the other one over here. The one other one.
Yeah,
that
the one other one. But yeah,
you're 5th. You got that point.
I do.
Do it. Last question.
Last
trivia.
question.
Are you ready?
If you Google, now this is a multiple choice, by the way. If you Google X33N, there's one item called the Cambridge X33N that pops up within the first few pages. And it's not about you. Is this item a magazine company, a video projector, a newly discovered planet, or a computer keyboard?
It is a video projector, I believe.
Oh, he got it.
How did you know that?
Who doesn't Google themselves? Like,
what is this?
there's
They
also
named it after me.
there's
You should
also
get,
like a cup that
sponsors.
has like X3-3N or something. But
Wow.
yeah, the fun part is if you, at least last I looked, which it's not every day. I'm not quite that narcissistic, but if you Google like zine real name, it comes up with Jordan Marin, which is
No, it also what was the one I saw? I think you guys shared it on Twitter. It was like comes up with like World Spawn or something like that. There was a meme someone posted. I'll find it. It's like what is Zine's real name? World or Spawn Point or something like that.
I don't know on that one, but I know that I've seen pictures where people have done it and come up with they'll Google my age or they'll Google my real name and stuff like that, and I'm just like, well, that's not creepy at all.
Yeah. All right, Jordan. That's great.
Man.
Great to know.
I am not Jordan Marin,
hey.
but
No.
I will take his subscriber base if he would like to give it. But
Give it here. Give it.
I will take that. Thank you.
Get that
All right.
signed.
Well,
contract.
Zine, thank you so much for coming on
Yeah.
the podcast.
No
Very
problem.
blast.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you had
Yeah.
fun.
It was fun. Good time.
Cool. Yeah, I'm inspired. I'm encouraged. I'm refreshed to hear some of the things that you said. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get some contracts going, bro. It's been great chatting with you. Would you mind letting everybody know how they can find you? What's the best place to go to find you and follow you online?
Sure. As I said, Twitch is my primary, so twitch.tv/zine. You can join if you enjoy that chat experience where you just want to talk with us. It's discord.gg/zine. And then twitter.com/zine for my Twitter to kind of go live notifications, but also just, it's not purely that. It's more, I like to just have fun with Twitter. So, silly anecdotes. And then I have my, YouTube videos that go up, youtube.com/zine. So if you just try some random address /zine, you'll get there probably. But yeah, cool. Twitch.tv/zine is where you'll find my heart and my love.
Excellent. Excellent. And you can, I know I looked on zine.me and there's like your stream schedule and everything there. So
yep.
That's
you guys,
the one with the really old pictures, isn't it?
It's, it's just a drawn one from my artist, Kiwi Jar.
No. I found something else. It was like, maybe it was a Tumblr, Tinder, something like that.
Yes, he found my Tinder profile.
Was that what it was? I don't know.
So,
I remember.
but wait a minute, I don't have any new super likes. What the heck?
What was it? It was like
there
you had
is
an FAQ.
There is a really old Tumblr from
Tumblr?
There's an old Tumblr that was when I was originally first starting to stream and talking about my night stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
I haven't done that for a while.
Yeah,
nice.
FAQs.
Nice. So
nice picture,
well,
really young looking picture of you.
I haven't looked at that in years, so I'm a little bit scared. But okay.
What time do you stream? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 p.m. PST. Is that still right?
Oh, that'd be nice. I stream every single day. I guess I should tell that I stream every single day except for Saturdays, where I'm still online, but in a party group in my partner's channel. So it's either 6 or 7 p.m. Pacific is when I start.
No.
And that's Monday through or Sunday through Friday.
And here's the important thing: what games will we be playing? I'm going to focus on Alien Isolation for my major play. Other things might be non-Minite Minecraft, Altitude, whatever sounds fun to me and the viewers.
Altitude.
So we'll look forward to that Alien Isolation.
Yeah, Alien Isolation is kind of a party game now. Like we have a lot of fun with it. I've turned it into an event that we can all have fun doing. So
nice. Cool. Well, you guys listening in, go check out that event. Go check out Zine. Zine, thank you again very much for joining us, Q. Thanks for being here and taking a beating today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
I deserved it.
We'll see you all around later.